a large deck that we're preparing. It used to be a former Philadelphia Philly that used to live here. Um, and we've had this customer for now 28 to 30 years. This deck is actually over 30 years old. They don't make wood like this anymore. It's old pressure treated wood, solid. I mean, I could jump on this. This thing doesn't move, nothing. It is really good wood. You just don't make. We cut trees earlier now than we used to, so they don't hold up as well. This thing really is good, solid wood. Now it's old wood, it's aged. So what are we going to do with this? Well, this is what we're going to do, as we've been taking care of this for many years. And I'll show you. I'm going to flip this around and show you everything. But we're doing a little bit more extensive restoration than normal. So what we did was did some few repairs. We're going to do some sanding. I'll show you why. We had Zorro come out here, which happens with the customer. But hey, let's take a look. We'll walk around. I'll talk as we go. Okay, so pretty large deck. I'll take it from one end. You can see a board we replaced. We always do the repairs first, not afterwards. So when we do repairs, then we go through the restoration process. Then what happens is it's not going to match new wood with old wood, but it gets a little bit closer down the line. We'll also put an extra coat when we first come back to stain. We put one coat on all the new wood, and then we will put two coats on everything. So anyway, here we go. We'll take a walk around. Large deck. Okay, you can see all this over here. Got the floor sander going. Let's take a walk around, take a look. So what happens is we're out here, we set all the nails because that floor sander cannot catch a nail or it rips the sandpaper. At $8 to $10 a sheet, you don't want to do that. So what we do is we pop all the nails in. Any of the ones had to be tightened. We pop those things back in with a punch, okay? And the reason we do that is we don't want to leave hammer marks all over the deck, because if you put a hammer mark in the deck and you go to seal or stain it, it'll accentuate it and it'll show up even more later. So we use a hammer with a punch. We punch those in before we go do this. On this size deck, that's a little bit of time, okay? Flip it back around. It's odd because pressure treated, what happens is usually the carpenter bees don't get to it. It's not really carpenter bees. The bees will get in there and lay the eggs, and the woodpeckers come to feed off of the carpenter bee eggs, and these were damaged, so we replaced those. There's a couple boards to replace, which you would expect on a deck this old. So what we're doing is we're going to run the floor sander over here. This makes sure we're on an old deck, it needs it. So we go from a rough surface to a much smoother surface. We're not taking it all the way down. We're not planing it. Again, some of it's old, but you can see the big difference. I'll go a little closer here with the floor sander. And you can see you go with the grain. And what we have on there is we use different grits of the sandpaper. So we'll use 20 grit or 36 grit. That's for stripping, okay? 20 on pressure treated, 36 on cedar to strip or take off coatings. When you start getting into to the sanding on PT, you're probably going to be 60 to 100, okay? Never go over 100 on the deck because we don't want it smooth to where it doesn't accept the stain. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to sand the deck with 60 grit on this case. If it's cedar, that's a little softer, you'll tear it up. So you probably want to be more like 60 on, if it's really rough, and then definitely use the 100. Again, don't go over 100 on either. We don't want it to be too smooth and not accept the sealer or the stain, okay? Outdoor wood's different than indoor wood, and that's how we explain it to a customer as well. I'm going to flip this back around. There's the floor sander going across there. There's a whole bunch of different kinds, but this is an invaluable piece of equipment if you're using this. If you're doing deck work, if you're going to do a lot of these, I mean, it's just a nice touch, especially on older wood. It just gives it a nice look. You can see how fast he's going. Even on an older deck, it's a nice touch. It still goes quick. Typically, an average deck, not much more than an hour just to run a quick floor sander across, unless you're stripping stain off or anything else. Okay, then the other thing you'll see we're doing here is we have the palm sanders, and any place where the butts, quick on on the bench here. And then we do hit the top of the rails, which we've already done over here. Anywhere where the hands, okay, the hands or the butt is going to touch, we run a floor sander or a palm sander across there just to get a nice touch to it. Okay, so that's what we do for restoration on an older deck. Again, 30-year-old deck, this thing is solid as can be. I can jump on this thing. It doesn't move. It's solid underneath. No reason to really tear this deck down. Usually, anything over 20 years, I tell customers they're in the bonus plan. But you got to take each one of these things individually. Sometimes you'll find a 30-year-old deck that's still in good shape. It may have been built well, good lumber, preserved very well. This is one of those decks. So anyway, we're not ready to tear it out yet. We're going to get a few more years out of it. And that's what we're doing here. I'm the Wizard of Wood. I'm Everett Abrams. This is what we're doing today. Just wanted to share this with you. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and look forward to the next video.